They didn't have the nobody scene. How do you not have the nobody scene? It's like the most iconic, memeable line in the entire story. It's been so quoted to death. I mean, how do you not have that? Negative 10 out of 10. Garbage movie, trash, don't watch it. Okay, now that we got that out of the way. That does legitimately bother me, by the way, but it's obviously not enough to break the whole movie. So, yeah, I don't live under a rock. I know about the 700 controversies with this movie and everyone making whole videos picking apart little things or justifying certain things, and it's just all over the damn place. And oh boy, it's just, I know for a fact that if I say I liked the movie, I'm going to piss off a million people. And if I say I hated the movie, I'm going to piss off a million people. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. So might as well just be honest about how I felt, which is what I always try to do, but some people don't believe me sometimes, but whatever. Let's cut to it and just tell you what I thought of the film. I really liked the movie. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. Sorry. Sorry for not lying. I don't know what to tell you. A ton of people were like, this movie's gonna bomb so hard. This movie's gonna be absolute trash. Worst movie ever. It's gonna ruin Christopher Nolan's career. Be like a huge insult to the Odyssey. I don't agree. I'm sorry. I thought it was very good, honestly. And yes, there are things they changed, there are things they left out, which did annoy me, and I'll go over that. And yes, I will do a whole inaccuracy video on the movie when it comes out on home video. But I think Christopher Nolan used the Odyssey to tell a really captivating story and did a great job with it. Like, I had a really good time. The people I saw it with had a really good time. I even bought this ridiculous popcorn bucket. This is a popcorn bucket, believe it or not. Like, it opens the same way the horse does with the soldiers coming out. It's like, this is the most ridiculous popcorn bucket I've ever seen in my life, so I kind of had to have it. I was like, okay, that thing is insane, and I want it. But yeah, it's not even like, it's not even hugely inaccurate. I would say this movie is about 70% accurate, but yeah, they do make big changes. But you know what it felt like? This movie felt like one of the epics that I grew up with. I'm 32, and when I was growing up, I saw Troy in theaters, loved it, but Troy gets a lot of things wrong. I saw Braveheart at home, loved it. Braveheart gets a lot of things wrong. And if we're going to call this movie crap because of historical inaccuracies or not getting the outfits right or like taking creative liberties to try to make some of the relationships stronger, we also have to hate Troy and Braveheart. They did the same stuff. The Braveheart outfits are not accurate. The historical events are not accurate. Like, same with Troy. Troy gets a ton of shit wrong, but those are still great movies because the people who made them still know how to make movies, still know how to tell a captivating, fun story. This felt like that. It felt like another one of those, and I had a great time because of that. You know, one thing I really appreciate about this movie was the stuff all felt like it was there. This movie wasn't drowning in horrible-looking CGI like so much of modern Hollywood is now. It felt like everything was there. A lot of practical effects, sets that were really there, people that were really there. I felt like CGI was used very sparingly. It would be challenging for me to even tell you which parts were CGI. I mean, I'm sure Scylla was CGI, obviously, but who knows? I could be wrong about that even. I'm pretty sure the Cyclops was like an animatronic or something. It was done really well. I like how they made him look like a deformed face, and I was into that. I really like that. And there were lots of parts I was looking forward to, like, all right, how are you going to do this scene? And it delivered in a way that I was happy with. Like one of the big highlights of this movie for me was the Circe scene. If you know the Odyssey or basic Greek myth, you know about Circe, like what she does to people. When we got to like, at first I didn't even know if Circe was going to be in it because I didn't see her in the trailer. And then when they get to the island and, you know, there's a lion, I'm like, okay, we're on Circe's island. And, you know, when they get to her and they get to what she does to the crew, it's done really well. I really like had a great time. I was like, oh, like it was uncomfortable. There was like body horror and stuff. I was like, I've never seen it done this way. I'm so into it. So there was a lot of stuff like that. Like the Laestrygonians, this is not a spoiler at all. They're in all the marketing, the huge giants in armor and shit. That's not accurate. The Laestrygonians in the story, like, you know, are described as like this cannibal savage society, like, and they're typically depicted in art like as like big guys in loincloths throwing rocks at the ships. In this, they make them more warrior-like. They're in full armor with swords, but the fight is still brutal. It's fun to watch them just tossing people around and fucking shit up, and instead of, you know, throwing rocks at the ships, like hacking them and tearing them apart. I'm like, okay, this is fun to watch. I'm having a really good time. And honestly, some of the controversies around this movie were very overblown. Like let me give you an example. Elliot Page. Everyone was furious when Elliot Page was cast. Everyone was saying, Elliot Page is Achilles. This is ridiculous. Elliot Page cannot pass for Achilles. When I heard that, I was like, oh yeah, that's a very weird choice. I wouldn't want like that actor as Achilles. But then not only is Elliot Page not playing Achilles, you were all wrong. You people who made whole videos like going over like how the movie's gonna fail because of Elliot Page. If you watch this movie, believe me when I say you're gonna feel pretty stupid after, I shit you not, the first 30 seconds of the movie when you see how that character is actually used. Yeah, Elliot Page is not Achilles. Elliot Page is playing a different character who is not in the original Odyssey, but is briefly in the Aeneid, I believe. And I've only read the Aeneid once, so I don't know a ton about it, but like, the character is used to give the suitor Antinous more depth. And it works. It really works, honestly. Like, I loved how they handled it, and I loved how it paid off at the end of the film. I thought it was done really well. So, you know, I'm not upset at all about that character being there. And you guys overblew the shit out of it. People were furious that Travis Scott is in the movie. They were like, oh, the movie's going to be full of rap music. No, there's no rap music in the movie. The music was actually pretty good. Unless there's like a rap song in the credits. I didn't stay for that, so I don't know. Travis Scott has about 2 lines in the film. He's playing like a poet at the banquet. It's actually funny that he never sings, because I'm pretty sure in the Odyssey story, the character he's playing is singing, but amazingly, they hired a singer to play a singing character and then not sing in the movie. I don't know what was going on with that. Very weird. So yeah, nothing really worth getting mad about, in my opinion. I'll tell you what I did absolutely hate the most in this movie. I hated Athena. I hated how they did Athena. I'm sorry. Zendaya is so miscast here as Athena. She looks like a 15-year-old. It doesn't work. I never bought that was Athena. Ever. Every scene I was like, go away. You're distracting. You're pulling me out of the film. Like, I was so engrossed in the film. Look, Matt Damon's casting was a little distracting at first, but, you know, we get enough time with him and his performance that I started to buy into it, and it didn't bother me anymore. Zendaya's Athena just doesn't work. And I don't have a problem with Zendaya. I think she acts well in a lot of stuff, but this is not the right role for her. It doesn't work. It's like if Tom Holland was playing Odysseus. I didn't want that either, and a lot of people originally thought that was happening and got mad about it. It's like, okay, he's not playing Odysseus, he's playing Telemachus, which is fine. He's supposed to be a younger person. But this doesn't work. And not only do they have... First of all, they never make her look badass. She's always just in like a little robe. And I think it's supposed to tie into, because they have, like, at the sacking of Troy, they have Odysseus and his men just desecrating Athena's like statue and priestesses and stuff like that. Which is another problem I have as a mythology buff, because Athena was on the side of the Greeks during the Trojan War, and also was Odysseus's mentor, and yet now we have her on the side of the Trojans during the war, and Odysseus completely desecrating her iconography. This would not happen. It's kind of ridiculous. So that was something I really didn't like. And I know you're all waiting for me to talk about Lupita as like Helen and stuff like that. Yeah, I wasn't really feeling that either. It was a weird casting choice. Like, I'm very used to the blonde depictions of Helen, and uh, Sparta has never been ruled by not Greek-looking people. Obviously, the best way to cast this movie would have been to cast all Greek actors. Like, that's the best way you honor the culture. But they chose not to do that, and so there's some choices that are a little jarring and a little weird. But again, Helen's barely in the movie, and Clytemnestra's barely in the movie. Like, it's not like it's going to break the whole plot to have them there. Athena's a much more important character, so that's why I get really annoyed with the Zendaya thing. It's so distracting. What's weird, though, is Odysseus also has some mixed race people on his crew, and I never found that distracting. Possibly because, to gather an army to sack Troy, Greece probably had to pull people from, like, all over the place, and maybe there were some people who immigrated who joined the army or something like that. Odysseus' right-hand man, I actually really liked his performance, and he wasn't white, and so I don't really know. Like, is it hypocritical for me to say I didn't have a problem with the crew members on Odysseus' ship, but I wasn't really feeling Helen of Sparta? Like, is that... I don't really know what to say about that. And with the Zendaya thing, it's because you look like a child. That's the reason I'm not into that. I know she's older than that, but you look like a child. I really liked how they handled the sacking of Troy, though. They really go into the horse, literally. They go into the horse. And what I mean by that is they have Menelaus describing what it was like in the horse, waiting for days as like the inside of it started to flood from being on the beach. People drowning, people pissing and shitting themselves. So I'm like, yeah, I never really thought of just how difficult it must be to just wait in there making no noise patiently as your men are dying underneath you and everyone's crapping themselves and probably starving in there. It's something I never really took into consideration, and I like that the movie, explores that. I also really liked how they handled, like, them breaking into Troy. I'm sorry to spoil how the Trojan War goes for anyone who somehow doesn't know that, but there were some really great visuals and everything like that. Again, a lot of people don't like that the armor doesn't look authentic ancient Greek. I don't care for a couple reasons. Like I said, Braveheart, I like seeing them in their skirts, even though that's not accurate. And in this, it's like, this isn't a history documentary, this is a mythology story. So I like when things are a little more over the top or a little more crazy. But yeah, Agamemnon's outfit is very over the top. And like my girlfriend Wilda next to me was like, that helmet is so Marte. Filipinos will understand what that means. And yeah, but it looks badass, so I don't mind. Again, it's a mythology story. I want you to be badass. I want you to give me over-the-top craziness. And that's why, here's another thing I was disappointed with in the movie. We get no gods except Athena. The only god we get is one who I did not like the casting for at all. We get no Poseidon, no Zeus, no Hermes, no Helios. All gods who appear in the Odyssey and are important in it don't show up. The closest thing we get to gods other than Athena are Circe and Calypso. And that bummed me out. I really was hoping we'd see some gods show up, because they're important to the story. They allude to them, they talk about Zeus, Poseidon, and instead of Helios's cattle, they make it Apollo's cattle, which is a pointless change. It changes nothing, and it's not like the character ever shows up, so I don't know why somebody just made a boo-boo, I guess. But, yeah, and when it is accurate, I have a lot of fun with it. Like, if you know the Odyssey, you know the dog scene, Argos, that's included in here, and it's done really well. It's good payoff with the dog. There's also the scene where the servant recognizes the scar. I was very happy to see that. I was like, yeah, I'm glad that's there. And it was also a touching moment, the way she looks at him. If you've seen the film, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, it's... What was I... Oh, yeah, there are things that are cut out, though. The Lotus Eaters aren't in the film. Instead, they have Calypso using a lotus flower on Odysseus. That's what I'm kind of neutral about, because, like, the Lotus Eaters, it's literally land on the island, eat the flowers, pass out, Odysseus has to drag you all back to the ship. It's not exactly a big, epic thing that they're doing. But I was really disappointed with Calypso's Island, because Calypso's Island is supposed to be a paradise, like a land of temptation that would make you not want to leave. And there's, like, nothing there. There's nothing there. That's like an area where I was like, come on, Nolan, like, give me something here. Shoot on a different location. Like, shoot at a very nice island. You're telling me you couldn't find a very nice island to shoot here? John Bernthal plays Menelaus, and some people really didn't like him as Menelaus. I didn't mind because I always pictured Menelaus as kind of a brute, and John Bernthal is a convincing brute, so I was into that. They left out, though, when Telemachus goes to visit him, he's like, have you heard anything about my father? And Menelaus is like, no, I'm sorry, I don't know anything about your father. I'm like, excuse me, in the Odyssey you do know about his father, because you wrestled the old man in the sea who knows everything for information about Odysseus, so that is not included, sadly. Yeah, and I am genuinely annoyed they didn't have the nobody scene, like with Polyphemus. In fact, even later when Odysseus is in disguise in Ithaca, he gives a fake name. I'm like, dude, just call yourself nobody. Give me something here. But they don't have the nobody scene. They also have Polyphemus. I'm going to get into some spoilers, but it's like a 3,000-year-old story. Like, okay, before I get deep into spoilers, I'll just say I did really love the movie, 8 out of 10. I wouldn't give it a 9 or a 10 because there are some changes I have legitimate problems with, and like I said, the Zendaya Athena thing was ridiculous, and the lack of a nobody scene, come on. But I give it an 8 out of 10. I think it's a great film. It's one I wouldn't mind watching again, and I'm glad it exists. It's another, mythological epic movie. Again, like, we've gotten a lot of those. Gladiator isn't accurate at all, but does that mean we have to hate the movie? Come on. Like, it's another one of those. I obviously would rather the movies be more accurate because I have a lot of fun with that, but I don't give the movie an automatic 0 out of 10. I stop and I look at if the changes serve the story. And in this movie, most of the changes do serve the story. A reason I crap all over the Percy Jackson adaptation is because their changes do not serve the story. And I've pointed out how several times. There are a lot of points in the Percy Jackson adaptations where if you had stuck more to the book, it would have served the story you're trying to tell better, and they fuck it up. This movie changes, like, they leave out some of the darker things Odysseus has done because they want you to root for him more, and they also, like, have certain changes they make as to, like, the possible reconnecting with his wife, which I think works really well. And again, the changes they made with Elliot Page's character, I think serve the story really well. And, leaving out the Lotus Eaters, I think serves the story, because that's a stop that's not really an epic thing and isn't gonna, like, make people go, I'm so thrilled that was in there. But, if you were telling a longer story and maybe you could find a way to make it interesting. And, like I said, I loved how Polyphemus looked. I loved how Circe's magic was portrayed. A lot of it was really great. And even though the Laestrygonians were different, I thoroughly enjoyed their scenes. So this is an example of taking liberties done right. Most of the time. There are little things I promise. Oh, fucking John Leguizamo's character, the servant, loved that character. He was just so great, like, a lot of the time. There were times where the dialogue was a little hard to hear. But after the first third of the movie, I was able to hear everything pretty well. I don't know if my ears adjusted or what. There are times where this movie just get where a certain monsters show up where just loud ass sound effects. I'm like, ah! It kind of reminded me of Obsession. But yeah. So what was I gonna say? Okay. So I'm going to get a little more spoilery now. Polyphemus, in the original story, the reason Polyphemus falls asleep in front of Odysseus and his men so they can stab him in the eyes because Odysseus gets him drunk with wine. But in this, that doesn't happen. Polyphemus is just an idiot and goes to sleep willingly in front of armed men who he has been eating, thinking they're not going to do anything to him. Also in the original story, Odysseus and his men get out of the cave by holding the bottoms of the sheep and being carried out. But I knew they weren't going to do that here, because you see the sheep, you see them, and it's like, you're never going to fit. So what are you going to do? Are you going to shear them and put on their wool or something? No, they tie straw to their backs so that when Polyphemus feels the sheep, he feels the straw on their backs and thinks it's just more sheep, I guess. I really would have appreciated getting to see the gods, like, discussing, like, punishing Odysseus. I would have, like, I guess they really just wanted it to be more from a human point of view, though. Like, if Odysseus didn't see these gods talking, we're not going to see these gods talking. And I guess there's another example of that during the siren scene. We don't get to hear the siren song, because we're seeing everything that's happening from his crewmate's perspective with the wax in his ears. We just see Odysseus screaming. One of the crewmates, the Asian crewmate, like, takes the wax out of his ears, I guess, and then hears the song and swims to the sirens. We barely get to see them. We just see, like, an outline of their bodies from a distance briefly. I was really hoping, and Wilda agreed with me on this, that we would see the guy go to the island, and from a distance it looks like the sirens are beautiful naked women, but then when he gets there, like, he can see that they're actually, like, monstrous bird women and they devour him. I wanted to see it, but unfortunately we don't. Scylla and Charybdis were pretty cool. I was very glad Scylla showed up. I kind of like that Odysseus had to trick his men into going to the Scylla part because they would never willingly go there. But I had one huge problem with the Scylla-Charybdis scene. I've always pictured Scylla and Charybdis as being between two walls of rock. So obviously you can't just go around them. There's no wall of rock next to Charybdis. Why didn't you just go around Charybdis on the left side? You could have, I feel like you could have gotten away. At least try. What are you doing? Like, it didn't, like, just put a wall of rock there. I don't know why you didn't do that. I liked the scene where he's talking to, like, Agamemnon in Hades. Again, I don't have a big problem with Agamemnon's armor like other people do, but I get it. It does look a little silly. But I want things to be over the top, again, in a mythical story. But I liked that they actually acknowledged the Agamemnon sacrificing his daughter's storyline and then getting killed by his wife and her lover when he gets home. Like, that's all in the original story. And one thing I think this movie did really well is it really got me invested in all the characters. I was really invested in Odysseus and his wife reuniting. I think a big part of that is Anne Hathaway's acting. She does a great job. She does a really great... This thing keeps falling down. She does a really great job selling that she misses her husband and desperately wants him to come home, and she loves him. Like, you know, people are saying, it's time for you to remarry. You need a husband. She goes, I need Odysseus. I need my husband. Like, you know, she loves him so much. And, of course, so that's why the movie cuts out, like, Odysseus sleeping with Circe and staying there for a year. They cut that out because they want you to be more invested in his love with Circe. Not fucked it up. In his love for Penelope. Like, and I think it's good because I told, like, someone I saw the movie with afterward, you know, he sleeps with Circe in the original, and they're like, oh, now I'm mad at Odysseus. I'm like, okay, it's probably good you didn't put that in the movie then, because it was more serving of the story you want to tell. But, I say a lot, don't I? But, yeah, so I really loved how Anne Hathaway sold the desperately wanting her husband to come back and never losing faith. They took out the bed scene where he has to prove he's Odysseus by knowing, like, how their bed was built. But it's fine because instead they have this pin story, and the pin works. Like, he holds it as a reminder of his wife. And when Penelope hears that he never took it off, she cries because she knows he stayed loyal to her. And then when they finally reunite, all he has to do is show her the pin, and she knows that's him. And it was very well done. And again, one thing that shows that the movie's doing something right is how invested I was for the ending. Like, I wanted him to kill those suitors. Like, Robert Pattinson did a good job selling what an asshole he was. And the other suitors, yeah, sold what assholes they were. And I was so ready for Odysseus to kill them. I'm sitting there, I've read the book. I know what's going to happen. But I'm sitting there going, come on, fuck him up. Of course, when he finally revealed himself to Telemachus, all I could think was that song, Daddy's Home. Someone's totally going to do an edit of that. But yeah, when he like does the bow thing and like strings it, it's such a triumphant moment. And then when one of the suitors goes, "You're Odysseus," it was like, yes, fuck them all up. And another thing I love about that scene is it addresses something I've thought since I first read the story. Because in the story, Odysseus kills all the suitors and they can't fight back because they have no weapons because Telemachus hid all their weapons. But I remember reading the story and thinking, aren't there 12 axes in the middle of the room? is no one at least going to try to grab those? They do that in the movie. They go for it. And I love that very much. I appreciate that quite a bit. And yeah, they try to make the fight more interesting because if we just have Odysseus mowing everybody down, there's no stakes. So instead we have like one of the servants breaking into the weapons area, and then John Leguizamo gets a triumphant moment like, hey, fuck you. And also Telemachus gets something to do, fighting that guy off while that guy's getting weapons back to the suitors so some of them can defend themselves. And then a scene I really liked was after Odysseus finally overpowers Antinous, he puts the reminder of his shame in his mouth. He says, I give it back to you for when you go to Hades. And I'm like, I like that he put it in the mouth, because for anyone who doesn't know, Greeks, when someone died, they would put money in their mouth to ensure they had that money in the afterlife to give to Charon. So the fact that Odysseus puts the shame in his mouth means he will take that shame with him to the underworld. At least that's how I took it. That's a nice little, mythical moment for like fans like me. And there was one more thing I was going to say, and now it just completely left my mind. Damn it. The way it ends. They changed the ending. In this, he has to go into exile because he killed the suitors, which means he technically broke the law of hospitality. And so he goes into exile with his wife, and it's a happy exile because at least we're together. That's not what happens in the book. In the book, yes, the families of the suitors are like, you broke the law, we want revenge, we want to kill you. But then Athena shows up in front of all of them and goes, no, he was justified, okay? Your suitor relatives were shitty people. No more bloodshed, we're stopping here, all right? And it's a happy ending until some asshole decided to write the telegony and ruin it. By the way, a lot of people are probably going to watch this going, what the hell is this Zeus's law that they keep bringing up? It's the law that you have to show hospitality to anyone who visits your home. And part of the reason for that is you never know if they're a god in disguise. So, don't screw yourself over. And there's a whole story about that in Greek mythology where Zeus does go to people in disguise and they don't show him hospitality, so he floods the whole city. So you got to let all the hobos into your house. But yeah, like I said, I was very invested in him getting home. In a story I already know. It was super satisfying and triumphant when he finally got his revenge in a story I already know. So I think these are signs that it handled itself very well. I had a great time watching it. I give it an 8 out of 10. I say it was about 70% accurate. But I don't think that ruins it as a movie. You want to argue that you're disappointed with it as an adaptation? I'm all ears. Yeah, there's plenty to talk about there, and I will address all of it when I make the inaccuracy video. Don't worry, you'll get your satisfying me pointing out every inaccuracy at some point. I think that the controversies were overblown, because the things you guys are mad about were barely in the movie. Freaking barely. Oh yeah, people were also annoyed that the dialogue sounded a little too modern. That I can actually somewhat agree with you on. It was don't say dad, just say father. It makes it sound more of the time. But again, it didn't ruin the movie for me, but I got it, and... yeah, I get why people are mad at them, changing the races of characters. I don't think it's fair to just call someone racist because they want, people who look like the country they're supposed to be from. I understand that. And especially in a cultural story like the Odyssey. I'm just saying it didn't ruin the movie for me. Because, again, one, it was barely in the film. And two, when it was more in the film like Odysseus' crew, I oddly bought it and didn't have a problem with it. I don't know. I don't understand my mindset sometimes. But yeah, like I said, my big problems were Zendaya and some of the stuff left out that I really wish they had included, can you make Calypso's Island look like a paradise, please? Can you include the nobody scene, please? Also, I do wish Achilles had some role. There's no Achilles in the whole movie. I wish he had some role. Would have been nice. But stuff like cutting out the affair with Circe, I thought served the story. So I didn't have a problem with that. They also cut out him killing Hector's baby, or at least just didn't show it, because they want you to be able to root for him, and you ain't rooting for a guy who murders a baby. It's not happening. So I think that's about all I have to say on it. I am glad I got this. I genuinely really like this popcorn bucket. My friends were all like, dude, what the fuck are you buying? I was like, I don't care, I want it. It's so stupid I kind of have to have it. Besides, I like it. It's kind of fun. So that's it. I don't know how to end videos.